Hey everybody, this is Chef Rick. Today what we're going to do is something very simple and very classic called the Coquille St, which is scallops and mushrooms. Very simple in a cream sauce. So what we're going to do is start things off, preheat your oven to 350 degrees, turn your pan on, saute pan on a very medium high heat, and start off with 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Now the key is to have your pan hot so your butter gets melted fairly quick. And what we're doing is a little bit of saute action. Now what I would suggest with this dish is to make it your own. What I'm providing you here is a very, very simple recipe, but you can add things, take things away, substitute things. But the idea, start off with your hot pan with your butter, and in this case I'm using just standard yellow onions. I have a couple yellow onions. Once your butter is fully melted, we're going to add the onions. Now you could substitute a cup of shallots, or you could also add green onions. The choice is entirely yours. So we're just looking for a little bit of translucent, not a caramelization, because it is a relatively soft, easy dish. So we're just looking for a little translucent action going on. Let that just work a little bit. And you could use, once again, substitute shiitake mushrooms, morel mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, but today we're using standard everyday button mushrooms. Okay, once your onions have reached the translucent state, we're going to throw in 2 cups of onions. And what you're doing here is looking for a little bit of a soft meltdown. You're not looking for a heavy-duty caramelization. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a fairly bitter taste to the finalized dish. And these mushrooms will suck that butter up real quick, and the saute action will really get going. So while that's working, what I have here is approximately 2 cups of mashed potatoes. This here is your standard Ziploc bag. Okay, you don't need a piping bag. You can just utilize this. It works just as fine. As I said, while your mushrooms and onions are sauteing, what you do is you take your 2 cups of mashed potatoes and put them in your Ziploc bag, quite simply. Seal that up. We got that ready. There we go. Now, once you get a little browning action on the mushrooms, nothing major, just a little saute, we're going to hit these babies up with 3 tablespoons of standard flour, all-purpose flour. Okay, we're basically building the cream sauce with this, so we're starting off with a little bit of the roux. I would suggest a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of sea salt or kosher salt, a little bit of fresh ground pepper, just because all food needs a good seasoning. Now while that works in, we're going to get ready with a half a cup of white wine. We're going to deglaze our pan. And just cook the flour a little bit. You don't want that pasty flour action going on. That smells good. Maybe we'll have a bit more of that stuff. Okay. Incorporate all the flour. Incorporate your roux. You're looking for a little, just a basic roux. From there, we get into the cream. What I have here is half a cup of 1% or low-fat milk, whatever you want to choose. You could even use whole milk. Let that go in there. And we have some half and half. You can use heavy cream if you want. Crank this baby right up and bring it up to a boil. Today we're using bay scallops or baby scallops, whatever you want to call them. So once your sauce or your roux has come up to a boil, we're going to add those. In the meantime, we're going to get back to our little homemade piping bag. So what you want to do with this, take a pair of scissors, just cut off a little tip like this. You see here we got a very nice, fairly thick cream sauce. You could, if you wanted to, if you had large Digby style scallops, you could saute them separately, give them a little brown action. But in this case, they're relatively small count scallops, so I would suggest adding the scallops right into your sauce, your mushroom sauce that is, and let them cook from there. Now what I have here is 4 cups. We're making a Coquille St. Jacques for 4 people. So we have 4 cups of scallops, which is a very good portion. And I have a tablespoon of tarragon. You could use fresh parsley, curly parsley, flat leaf parsley. You could use dill, whatever you wanted, or you could skip the herb altogether. But tarragon brings out a beautiful flavor in the seafood itself. A little bit more seasoning. Very creamy looking. I don't want to cook that too long because they are going into the oven. So I have 3 little dishes here, little oven-safe dishes. You could use standard oven-safe plates, whatever you want. So you take your Ziploc bag and just work your mashed potatoes down into the corner where you made your little snip. And just line your dishes with your mashed potatoes. Give it a quick stir. And just put your Coquille St. Jacques mixture right within each little dish or your plate. What you want to do here is top it off with standard breadcrumb. You could use panko breadcrumb, you could use Italian seasoning breadcrumb, or you could just make your own breadcrumbs if you want it. Just a little bit. And what we have here is some mozzarella, Parmesan mix. Just top off everything there. And I would recommend grabbing a little cookie sheet, placing your dishes on the cookie sheet because they will bubble over. I'll say 350 degrees. You take your Coquille St. Jacques and into the oven. We're going in there until your breadcrumbs start to crisp up and your cheese starts to melt. And take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. And then you're ready to eat. So, 10 minutes have passed. Let's check them out. Whoa! Beautiful. We got some nice crust action going on. Cheese is melted. I would recommend putting this obviously on a plate. Serve it with your favorite vegetable. And enjoying most of all.